Hello, everybody. My name is Frederico Freitas, and I am the instructor for your
History 216 Modern Latin America.
This is a course that was initially designed to be taught face to face, but I'm teaching online because of the circumstances. This is a asynchronous course. That means that you can do all the assignments, you can do the readings, you can watch the lectures in your own time. All the lectures and videos and readings are divided by weeks, and you're gonna have a week to finish your readings and watching your videos. So I want to talk a little bit about myself. I'm from São Paulo, Brazil. I'm Brazilian, and I'm from the city of São Paulo, a big city that with more than 20 million people. And I lived there most of my life, and then I moved to the United States to do a PhD. I moved to California, and I did my PhD there at Stanford, and I lived there for 6 years. And then after I finished my PhD, I was hired by NC State, and I moved to Raleigh to start teaching at NC State. That was about 5 years ago. The type of work that I do is I do history. I'm a historian of the 20th century. I do history of national parks and history of conservation policy in Latin America, specifically in Brazil and Argentina. And in the last year that I was on leave, I was finishing a book on the history of national parks in Brazil and Argentina. I want to talk about the course a little bit. The course is focused on three main themes. One is nation building, the process of on how these places in Latin America that used to be colonies of Spain and colonies of Portugal became independent nations in the process that they built themselves as new nations. We're going to be covering in this course entire continent, more than 20 separate countries, and we're going to be thinking about how these countries were created from the 19th century to the 20th century to the beginning of the 21st century. Another big important theme in this course is the theme of inequality. Latin America is, as a continent, as a region, is known for this very high inequality. This was a legacy from colonial times, from the time these countries used to be colonies of Spain and Portugal, and continue throughout the 19th century and the 20th century. So we're going to discuss a little bit about that. We're going to talk about who gained access to the economic, social, and political life in these countries, who benefit from economic growth, who did not benefit from economic growth, this type of issues. And a third important theme in our course is the theme of U.S. Latin American relations. We're going to focus on that. We're going to see how the U.S. engaged with its Latin American neighbors. We're going to talk about the Mexican-American War in 1846. We're going to talk about the Spanish-American War in 1898, the Cold War, and we're going to talk a little bit about immigration from Latin America to the United States. So because we are studying this entire continent with more than 20 countries, I tend to focus on some of the big countries in Latin America, particularly Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina. But I will also talk a little bit about Cuba, about Colombia, Chile, Guatemala, Venezuela. The course starts in the 1820s, was when these colonies fought independence against Spain and against Portugal and gained independence. In a process that had some parallels with the process of independence of the United States from Great Britain. So there's some parallels that we can make there. Talking about the mechanics of this course, there are two main books that I will require in this course. One is this here, Born in Blood and Fire. This is the main textbook. It was a book written by a historian, John Charles Chastain, a historian that used to teach at UNC Chapel Hill. So I require students to buy the fourth edition, not the third edition. The fourth edition is the most recent edition. And it's a very interesting book. It's a very easy to read. So each week we're going to read more or less a chapter in this book. The second book that I require my students to have is this one here, Problems in Modern Latin American History. And this is a different book. It's not a textbook. It's a book of sources. It's a book of texts that were written by historical actors in the past. So you have all these primary sources, and each week we're gonna read more or less a chapter in Born in Blood and Fire, and then you're gonna read a couple of texts in this book. Other than that, we also have some other readings that are not from these two books. And for these readings, I provided a PDF or a link. So if you go on the syllabus, you can see the link for this. This is the syllabus for the course, has my contact information, has my office hours. My office hours are by Zoom. The link is on Moodle for my office hours, but also by appointment. If you cannot make to this on Thursdays and Fridays between 10 and 11 a.m., you can send me an email and request an appointment. And the syllabus, I talk a little bit about the course, the content, the objectives. Here, I discuss the three things that we have in the course. One, you have the readings. Every week, students are going to have to do a series of readings that are listed down in the syllabus. And also, they're going to have to go on Moodle and watch 2 video lectures that I recorded last time I taught this course in 2019. And after they do the readings, they watch the lectures, they're going to do 2 quizzes. One quiz is on the readings, and the second quiz is on the video lectures to test their engagement with the material. These are very simple quizzes. You only have 5 multiple choice questions, and you're going to have the entire week to finish the quiz. So you can do the quiz at your own time between Tuesday and Sunday of that given week. And once you start, you open the quiz, you have 30 minutes to finish the quiz. Besides that, you're going to have both a midterm and a final exam. The midterm and the final exam are take-home assignments. So I'm going to give you a prompt with a theory of essay questions, and you have to write the essay questions. Besides that, there's also a writing assignment. And the writing assignment, you have 2 options. Option 1 here, you can write 3 short written responses to the readings. And for these responses, I ask you to write responses on the text of this book, Problems in Modern Latin America, or some of the other texts in class, but not on the text of the textbook. So when you write the written responses to the readings, you don't use the chapters in this book. So only all the other texts. This is one of the options. So you have 3 written responses, and there's details in the syllabus. If you don't want to do that, if you want to do a little bit of more extra work, you can choose 3 books to write a book review. And the books are this. The first book that you can choose is this one, this one here. Facundo, Civilization or Barbarism, is a book about 19th century Argentina. It was written in the 19th century by Domingo Sarmiento, who eventually became the president of Argentina. The second book is Child of the Dark. It's about Brazil. It's a memoir. It's more like a diary written by a woman who was a poor Afro-Brazilian woman who was a maid who lived in a shanty town, and she wrote this book in the 1960s. And the third book that you can choose one of the 3 books if you choose to do the book review. Is this one here, I, Rigoberta Menchú. It was a book written by the indigenous Guatemalan woman in the 1980s and 1990s. It's about all the political civil war that was happening in Guatemala at that time. And it's a memoir. And eventually, I think she received the Nobel Prize for her activism in human rights issues in Guatemala. So again, the writing assignment is either choosing the 3 reading responses based on the readings that you already have to read for the course, or choosing one of the 3 books listed that I showed to do a book review. So this is the breakdown of the grading in this course. 10% for the reading quizzes, 10% for the lecture quizzes, 22% for the midterm, 28% for the final exams, and 30% for the writing assignments, which you have 2 options, the 3 reading responses or the book review. If you go all the way to the final section, schedule, you have the list of what you have to read each week. Chapters in Chastain, Born in Blood and Fire, I just give you the page number and the number of the chapter. chapters and the problems in modern Latin American history, I also give you the page number. And sometimes I also ask you to read some extra text. And for these, I have all the PDFs. So all this is also, all these readings, they are also listed on the Moodle page that we have for the course. So the readings are listed by week. So for example, on week 1, we just have one chapter from Born in Blood and Fire. On week 2, we have another chapter plus some chapters from Problems in Modern Latin America. So every week, we're gonna go on Moodle. This material is the same one that I listed on the syllabus. It's the same thing. So you can go on Moodle and you can check what you have to read. So I strongly suggest every student to do the readings first. And after that, after you do the reading, you can go on the link for the video lectures and watch the video lectures. And after that, you can do the 2 quizzes. So that's basically schedule for the week. Go online on Moodle, do the readings, and after that, you watch the video lectures and you do the quizzes. And that's basically it. Throughout the course, I'm going to talk more about the exams and the writing assignments. I think one last thing I want to talk about is that if you choose the 3 reading responses or the book review as writing assignment, I allow you to 1 week before the deadline, and the deadline is listed both in the syllabus and on the Moodle page. But a week before the deadline, I allow you to send me a draft. I'll have the opportunity to make comments on your draft to make it better. So if you want to do that, just send me the draft.